What's
Up,
good?
man?
Not much, man. First of all, thank you for doing the show. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. I'm happy to
Um,
be here.
so I did some research on you, of course. But I'm gonna let you tell your own story as we kick it off. So, um, kind of how did you start like rapping? How did you discover you had even the skill or even had the interest in it?
Um, shit. I just always been a wordy kind of guy, you know?
Hmm.
To write poetry when I was like a kid, like since like fourth grade. And when I went to high school, I was in the marching band, certain shit, where it was just like, in the back of my mind, I just knew like, something to me, something creative to me. But then I got older and older, and I felt like as my music taste advanced, I felt like it was an area where I could impact my artistic taste more directly. And so,
Hmm.
like ninth grade, I just started rapping. I started listening to more niche ass rap music, and that inspired me. More underground artists. I feel like I could do it too, you know?
Talking about niche ass artists, I saw you talking about Doom. And
Yeah.
what's funny is like in high school, I'm like way older than you, but in high school, when I was in high school, I was listening to Doom too, and I
Yeah,
think a lot of people who listen to Doom in high school, like it had like a certain effect on them about kind of just how they
yeah,
view rap and like music and stuff like that. Would
for
you
sure.
say that was your experience?
Definitely, I'm in that cultural lineage of Doom. Um, yeah, he's very central to like me and my best friend like met in class, like, and he was like, "Hey, bro, you listening to Doom?" And I was like, "Yeah." That's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like one of them kind of things with me. Yeah, for sure.
Um, okay, so you start in ninth grade. Well, kind of, what was your style like back then compared to like now? Like, kind of how did you sound? Kind of how were you rapping?
Shit, the same. You go listen to all that shit. I don't delete music now. You go on SoundCloud and listen to me right when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and now 22. You feel me? But yeah, like always just like pretty dense, florid, I would say. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Languid. Shit like that. But
I mean,
for real, like I always just I was the type of kid who would read the dictionary for like what word looked pretty to me.
right,
And so I think that's how I rap a little bit. That's how I always rap.
right. No, that's
Mm-hmm.
cool that you didn't delete them because, as you know, you putting it out. You know that a lot of artists like delete music from like they don't want anybody to
Hell
see,
yeah.
but you leave it there so people can see, kind of you just going on the road.
Definitely, because I wanted it to be known that I work at this, you know, and that
Mm-hmm.
as I develop as a man, I develop as an artist. I want those things to be attached in my own mind. I mean, in the minds of others as much as it is in my own mind. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I saw you kind of talk about being from North Carolina and how it benefited you creatively in the sense of there's no specific regional sound like in rap. Like there is no North Carolina sound. Y'all all do different things. Y'all all kind of, or you had the space to do it whatever you wanted and kind of grow
For
into your.
sure.
Um,
Definitely.
can you kind of speak more to that? I mean, because that's interesting. Because I'm from New York. There's a lot of different sounds, but you know what it sounds like. At the end of the day, you
Right.
know what it sounds like. North Carolina's not like that at all. Where y'all have so many different styles, especially now.
And I think it has to do with us being like in the mid South. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the amount of cultural influences is just really high. Like I can say personally, I take a lot of inspiration from like the rap scenes in New York, um, of the '80s, '90s, the arts. It's Chicago, like Save Money,
Right.
No Name, Saba, Smino, Monty, those guys. LA, like uh, Earl, Nakel, those guys. Um, and even like the new kind of New York, like with Mike and all of those folks.
Right.
So that's me. But then you also got people like one artist I super respect out of my city, like Ruben Vincent. He's
Mm-hmm.
like on Jamla, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Rock Nation. So you can hear a lot of like New York City in him. You can hear a lot of like um little brother influence, you know what I'm saying, from the ninth and all of this. And then it's also artists like Elevator J, that's like really, really southern, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
like people like Jamonte, who got like a real metropolitan flair to him. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like as many artists and what stuck out to them as a kid, they able to represent that self individually really strongly. I appreciate that about that.
Right. No, and I think that's always been cool, and I think that kind of stuff is like really instrumental to kind of a region's growth. Not that like North Carolina is completely like not accounted for in hip hop history. They are, but the change comes from who's willing to do different stuff and who just does whatever they want and isn't kind of thinking about reception. Like that's the kind of stuff that like moves the needle. Um okay, so going back to your career specifically, I know in 2019 you put out Let the Sun Talk, and that was kind of like they know me, like, like
Coming
everything
out party, yeah,
right, everything changes. Everybody knows who you are. You're everywhere.
yeah.
Um, okay, so before you put it out and when you were like working on it, did you have any like specific expectations for it?
Mm-mm. Well, I had the expectation that it would be my strongest effort thus far. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of how I feel about this new one.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I never really had no expectation in terms of like what music gonna do. Like I really put it like for the 2-3 people that's always in my story, always in my DM. Think
Mm-hmm.
I never see them. It'd be for those guys. You know what I'm saying? Always.
Right.
Um, More than like I feel like I'm gonna reach some large leap. But
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like as long as I can serve the people who really, really, really I could tell love what I do from a musical perspective, then I feel like I ain't doing the wrong thing. You know?
Right. Right. I think too. Kind of when did you? Was there something specific that happened where when you noticed, okay, it's more than 2 or 3 people? Like it's a lot of people now.
No, I still be one thing, bro, about me. People always be asking me like, what's wrong with me in like different ways, but like I be in disbelief of a lot. You know, I don't even believe that this album, like you know what I'm saying. It's all still dawning on me like every single day, but it's just I just see this whole thing as a blessing, like just to be able to do this, be able to impact this. You know, GT
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about.
from Detroit.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
be
Yes.
replacing him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. GT when we was on tour, he told me, bro, wake up and thank God every day. Like you get to change somebody's life with your voice. You know what I'm saying? And he
Mm-hmm.
told me like, bro, you know, we worked hard doing other things, and we done made a lot of money doing other things, and we out here trying to rap like how you trying to rap because you know what I'm saying. We love this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of where I take it from my inspiration in terms of like too many like how much people shit like that. It's just more like being able to touch one person and touch them a certain way that means the most to me. You know?
Right. Um, one thing I definitely notice about you is something you bring up a lot is working on the craft and always trying to get better and trying to evolve. And it's not in like a competition way where you're like competing with other people. It's like a race with yourself because I think you already see it for yourself. Like you already see like kind of how far you can take this and even past that. But
Mm-hmm.
kind of where is that coming from where you're so kind of like solely committed? Because I mean, that's not a common thing amongst artists in any genre where they're so committed to I'm just working on this, and so they put so much of their energy into just strictly like that. Like you don't get wrapped up in other stuff. You do shows and you make music and you live, and like like that's just kind of how you approach it.
I was watching this Lucky interview, and he said some shit that like he said it perfect. He said, bro, like he was talking about Babyface rating him again. But he was saying that like he learned from them like not to get caught up in the distractions because our work is a distraction. You know what I'm saying? So like, bro, this part like the rapping shit, and again back to what GT told me, like the rapping part of this shit is the funnest part of it for me.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping it fun, keeping it fresh, keeping it where like I'm competing with myself, keeping it where I'm trying to improve on my own design is what's gonna allow me to do this thing for life. And this is something that I loved in a way since I was a little boy. I knew when I was 16 that in 10 years I wanted to be something. I ain't gonna say what, but you know what I'm saying. And I never thought I could do nothing for 10 years before that, especially not at that age. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely just doing my thing be the central focus of like my self improvement and shit like that.
Right. I was listening to End of Earth, and I know that you kind of had taken some time between like putting out projects, but you also stress like sounding drastically different from spot to spot, like making sure you're not like just kind of going back to the well.
Mm.
Um, kind of like how do you like make sure you do that? Is that also part of the shutting out distractions thing? Because you have to be focused on yourself to keep that up.
It's also just a part of me, like in my like diverse influences, where I want to represent myself fully and cover
Mm-hmm.
all the bases. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as like I don't want to leave anything about myself out of something that's like so representative of me, like a project. You know?
Mm-hmm. No, that's me. Um, I know that of course, I was gonna ask about the the tour when you were with Babyface Ray, Jack Harlow.
Mm.
You talked about kind of how you grew from it and like the things you took from just being on the road and like it just kind of drawing from that in general.
Hell yeah.
Is that important? Like, kind of, how important is it for you to kind of just be in the moment with your career and like really
Man,
happening? Because I know that's hard. A lot of times that's like really difficult for younger artists because just like you said, so much is always happening. But
it's definitely super important, but I think I focus on staying in the moment by like attaching myself to the lessons that I learned. Like Jack Harlow and Babyface Ray, everybody involved with the whole tour, they just like them two guys in specific are like really good champions, like to me. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like the people who comprise their team, in terms of every single position on their team,
right.
is people that have been comprising of their team like for a long time. And so like it's like a blessing for all of them to participate and just to watch and to be a part of this journey. And so that inspired me, like just knowing that like what I'm doing now, the seeds that I'm planting now is going to fruit in a way that I can't even imagine quite yet. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and both of them was impressing that upon me. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, bro. And I went through a lot. Like my album is basically about what I went through on tour and what I went through when I came home from tour. You know what I'm saying? The immediate aftermath and how jarring that adjustment was. So that was definitely a life experience that I knew was catching lightning in a bottle. So I definitely made sure to document it within my own mind, on paper, video, stuff like that. So yeah, like definitely things like that I never take for granted. And, yeah, I try to definitely, yeah, you know.
I know you dropped Baking Soda. I think that was like a week ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just caught that body about a week ago.
Right. You dropped it a week ago. You have Laugh So Hard It Hurts coming up.
Mm.
I wanted to ask you about the title. What does the title mean? And like kind of what did you want to share with that?
Shit, I'm gonna get into it a little deeper, a little later, closer to the thing. But
Of course.
I would say this, like, as a black person, right? You ever went to like a funeral? Well, let me tell you something about my family.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when somebody died in my family, we go like after their viewing or after the funeral, and we go have a cookout. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and like at the cookout, like the mood is like so like morose, but like and kind of anxious. Like the air is like alive. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
With like emotion. Um, and sometimes like in those moments, like my whole family will share like such a good ridiculous laugh, like a laugh that make you like thankful that you belong to the family. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so like laughing so hard it hurts is basically about the juxtaposition of like really intense and deep pain with like really like uh quaking laughter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For sure.
I know exactly what you mean because yeah, I mean, my family basically does the same thing, except we're in the north, so you can't have a cookout because it's cold. So just have like the repast indoors, and everybody comes to that, and
Yeah,
it's like energy. The energy, right? The energy is like almost indescribable because it's not like that in any other situation. It's like sad, but it's also kind of like happy because you have everybody together and y'all are kind of talking about the memories and stuff like that. So it has the
definitely.
hurts, but it also has like the value in the other way. So yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, so I know that
And it's about finally. So
what?
basically, like pair it with the pain of loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is like the joy of freedom from pain and suffering, like in terms of a graduation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like what this album means to me in terms of my life position and what it documents as far as like what I'm talking about on the album is like, you know what I'm saying, the pain of loss and like the joy in graduation.
No,
Yeah.
I also want to definitely give you credit too for just really being pro-black in a very revolutionary way and not and never like compromising that and saying stuff that I think other artists would shy away from. I mean, specifically, what I was thinking about was when you were rapping about Me Too and the importance of protecting women and stuff like that, and not letting not letting men go against it,
Yeah.
kind of presence and stuff like that. Because I think that stuff is important, and right, and that's pro-black in its essence too. Because just like you said, um, then I've always thought what you've thought, where you were like, we're not free unless women are too. Um,
Right.
it's true, but I mean, I feel like there may be other people who feel that way, but you made it a point to kind of talk about that and like
And
kind
fuck
of.
talking about it, like, yeah, talking about it. But like ultimately, like I'm a man, I'm a young man, I don't got it all figured out. What's more important to me than talking about it, because I feel like it's been talked about. Well, not talk has been talked about like in terms of completion, but it is being talked about by
Mm-hmm,
people far more educated and stuff than me. But
mm-hmm,
my thing is from going to school, from just different kind of life experiences, I understand the value of like distilling knowledge. Like
mm-hmm,
my role is like to propagandize like my righteous view of the world, you know?
mm-hmm.
And that's why like I be trying to make it catchy and beautiful, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like it's convincing work in the social capital of coolness. You know what I'm saying?
right, right.
Yeah.
And I too. I mean, I absolutely. I mean, not that it matters that I think you're doing the right thing, but you absolutely are. But I mean, in the sense of, I think you also understand that you got to do what you can do in your world, in your corner. And I think with the music and just how you carry yourself and the things that you do, even outside of the music, because you live it. So I
Yeah.
think you're definitely affecting the world in that very specific way. And I think that's like
I'm also trying. The only reason why I discount like certain things is because like I'm super open. Like this phase of my life, I'm like about growing into a more able and more available leader. You know what I'm saying? In the ways that's important to me and my family and my community. You know what I'm saying? And I like welcome that growth and anybody who try to contribute to it for real.
right, right. No, and I think that's important. I think I don't know. I mean, just all around, man. I've just been really impressed with the music and the stuff that you've been doing. And like I said, I think it's important. I think there's space for everything in the genre. But the stuff that you're doing right now and the things you're saying and the way you're approaching them, I for real, I think you're affecting other people too and other artists. There's somebody who's like 13 right now who listens to your shit, and it's like that's kind of the way to go. And maybe they'll start rapping one day and incorporate kind of your viewpoints and like also take the things you say and further research them and use them to learn more too. I think that kind of stuff, you're giving back. You know,
Yeah, because so much people are important to me. You know what I'm saying?
right,
The older homies, like other rappers, like thinkers, just Oh yeah, just everybody done poured into me. Like I feel like the baby of the family. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a blessing to get to be the older brother too. You know?
Right, right. Um, okay, talking about your music. What
Mm.
what would you what would you say are like your can't miss songs? Like if somebody walked up to you and they had no idea who you were, what would you be like? You need to hear these songs.
Um, I would say probably like time travel.
Hmm.
Um, baking soda though. Yeah, go stream baking soda. Yeah, but yeah, time travel, baking soda, probably self love, um, love of money. Really, this whole album, though, this album got some shit like some new Mavi joints on it. I can't lie to you. I ain't gonna lie.
I love hearing stuff like that, man, because like this is your show, so you should absolutely you should absolutely just be like, yes, I have joints. Yes, it's hard. Yes, go listen.
This
Like,
shit over hard though. Like that's what I'm
right.
trying to tell you. This new shit, like it's not just hard because it's the new shit. Like you feel me?
I appreciate you taking that rapper cliche off the table. Like, I'm not just saying it's hard because it's not like it's
For
hard because
real.
it's hard,
Like,
right?
it's just a real this shit. And bro, like, let me get into it later, but like, yeah, it's some real. I didn't put in a real. I I'm sorry. Are you
You
getting me?
good? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't really put in like the real emotional and like physical and like self improvement leg work to be able to make this album. You know, for sure.
Right, right. Um, so I know the album is coming very soon. What is there when people like go into it, like the first time listening to it? Kind of, what would you want their mindset to be? How do you want them to approach it?
Um, listen to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one, all the way through, and don't say shit like you listen to it. uh, like if I could control how everybody listens to this shit, I would tell everybody shut up. And
I thought you were gonna say don't shuffle, but I feel like that's like obvious. I feel like you don't have to tell people that. People who listen to new
yeah,
albums
definitely don't shuffle my album.
know
What
what
the fuck?
yeah,
Like,
I don't know if
what
people do
the hell? That's actually so crazy. If a nigga shuffle my album, like you hate me. But the first time, like that's crazy. Like definitely listen to the whole thing. Go somewhere quiet. It's short. It ain't too long.
Hmm.
And like be gentle because like it's so in between making this album, I made like an album called Shango, right? About like the Nigerian god of thunder, all of it. I mean, Orisha of thunder and all of this, right?
Hmm.
And so very masculine album, very manly album. Like this album is like very feminine, like it's
Hmm.
girly and like for babies and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I want people to just listen to it like it's that, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So, to wrap it up,
Mm.
what's something that most people don't know about you? Like they would be surprised to know about you. It could be like a hobby, interest, anything.
It is something interesting about me. Shit. I don't know, bro. I feel like I'm growing into like niggas like stereotypes of me, bro. Like, I started being OD healthy and drinking smoothies and running and shit, walking the dog. Like I ain't used to be like that though. Like I used to shit. Something niggas really don't know about me though is shit. I'm good at 2K.
Okay.
Damn, it's something I know how to do though. Damn, I'm that useless. Um, shit.
Got the cable.
I know how to write a little bit of HTML code, CSS from my daddy.
So
I
that
don't
no,
know.
that is interesting because a lot of people don't know how. I definitely don't know how. I should know a little bit by now. I don't know anything.
Yeah, something interesting about me. I'm super into like first I'm super into tattoos. That's like a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm super into like jewelry. Like I want to own a jewelry store and like give away gold as equity like to black community and stuff like that.
Wow, that's hard.
Yeah.
Get an equity idea. I think that's really creative.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Um, all right. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I think this went great. I think you gave us a lot of yourself. I definitely appreciate that. And 100%. Definitely looking forward to the album coming out and the reception and everybody talking about it. It's
Yeah.
definitely anticipated. People have absolutely been looking forward to it. I'm sure you know that, but I'm sure it'll be hard, and I know that you're happy with it.
Definitely. I'm grateful for the opportunity, man. Thank you for having me. But yeah, yeah. I got a lot to show on this new one. And I've been changed and grew a lot and I hope it's represented,
Absolutely, man. Thank you. Peace.
Well, man.